So this afternoon, we're going to proceed with our international sharing of ideas, specifically the International Research Forum conducted by the MSU Sulu Office of the Internalization and in partnership with Cape Comorin Trust India. So this afternoon, I would be your first speaker. So I will be discussing the challenges to nursing leadership in a changing practice world. So to start with, we have the following objectives for this discussion. So first, we are going to differentiate and look back the difference between leadership and management. Then second, discuss leadership in transition and rational leadership. Then third objective would be present the different styles of leadership in the world. And fourth, appreciate the role of leadership in the healthcare. So those are the objectives that we have in our discussion for this afternoon. So for the discussion, we have the following topic outline. First, we'll discuss the leadership and management. Second, the leadership in transition. Third, the relational leadership. And next would be the different styles of leadership. And last would be the role of leadership in healthcare. And that is creating vision and living mission. So moving on to the next presentation. So we have already our topic outline for this afternoon. So we will now proceed to the lecture proper. So to start with, you have the famous definition of leadership and management, wherein it is stated in here that the essence of leadership is the ability to influence other people. And that is the definition that we have from the popular book on leadership by Stephen Covey, which says also that a leader enables people to work more effectively together in a state of interdependence. So basically, we also have the three elements of our leadership, and that is to influence the groups and the goal of the organization. So basically, our discussion along with those three elements of leadership that we have mentioned. On the other side, we have also the famous definition of management by Henry Fayol, and that is planning, organizing, commanding, coordinating, controlling the work of a given set of employees. So that is how we define management in almost all fields of organization. And then we have also another list of management function that does not really describe what managers do. So instead of discussing the manager's function, okay, we actually do whatever is necessary to make sure that they work and do it as well. So those two comparisons of the leadership and the management are the common definition of leadership and management in most of the organization. And then behind that is the differences between leadership and management in the nursing practice. So we have there, in nursing practice, we have leadership is based on the influence and shared meaning. It is also defined as an informal role because we can be a leader as a nurse in our daily work load in all the fields that we do, both in hospital, in school, and wherever set up that a nurse is being employed or is in. Then, accordingly, leadership is also part of every nurse's responsibility. So that means in all aspects that we do, we always integrate the leadership that we have in our practice. is also considered to be an independent management. So that is leadership in the field of nursing. So since I am a nurse, mostly my discussion would focus on the way how nurses perform leadership and management in the changing world. Next thing, on the other side, in the field of nursing, we define management based on authority and influence. And then management is also considered to be a formally designated role in our field. And mostly when we hold a position in the nursing field, it is actually an assigned position. It can either be a charge nurse, a supervisor nurse, or whatever will be a position that you are holding into. And then we also have, usually, management is a responsible, a manager in the nursing field is also responsible in doing budgets, that is financial management, hiring, and at the same time firing people. That is part of our role in the management role in the nursing field as well. And then lastly, our task as a nurse is to improve by the use of effective leadership style in all management skills that we do as nurse leader in our field. Then moving on to the next slide. Okay. So we have the next one. Okay. The leadership in transition. So this is basically the sige. This is basically the illustration that we used to see in the traditional concept of being the leader or being a leader. The one in red that you can see there, the one moving, represent the leader in action, which the common role of a leader, he is the one who guides the team members and the rest that follows him. While as in the leader and the point of view of the leadership in transition, we view nursing leaders as an empowered one. Diba? Okay, we let them perform the independent management, and in this transition, we let them perform the nursing management, the innate nursing leadership that we have to become the best version of themselves. And that is becoming the superhero in the new trends of the nursing society or the nursing world. And moving on, we also have the transformational leadership in nursing. So in here, we describe transformational leadership that usually motivates followers by appealing to higher ideals and moral values, where the leader has a deep set of internal values and ideas. So in the transformational leadership, the leader usually leads the followers by acting to greater good rather than their own interest and supportive environment, wherein the responsibility in the organization is usually shared. So that is how we view transformational leadership in nursing. So as we move along, this is actually the 5 tasks in accomplishing the task for the transformational leaders in nursing practice. So we have the modeling way, the encouraging heart, the inspiring a shared vision, enabling others to act, and the challenging process. So that is how we view transformational leadership. So we're going to discuss this one by one in order for us to understand it in a deeper perspective. So we have the transformational leadership in a modeling way. This is setting the example for others to follow. So like, for example, in our field nursing, and at the same time, for us Filipino, diba, we have the so-called Filipino time. When we set time, okay, usually it has to be earlier than the set schedule. Kasi most of the Filipino would come late in the set time. But with the given transformational leadership style, the rest of the member of the team are encouraged to follow the set time because the leader itself is doing the ideals in a modeling way. So that is one. Another thing is we have the encouraging heart. This is enabling input and key decision from all levels of the organization. And third one is inspiring a shared vision. In here, we enlist others in seeing exciting possibilities for the future. So like what we are doing now, we are actually opening other possibilities for each and everyone around the globe to share our ideas. So this is actually a new ideas for us in the MSU Sulu to share ideas with the other people in the globe. So that is another way of moving out from the box that we have. And this is actually a good initiative conducted by the Office of the Internalization. Diba? Okay. And then, other than that, okay, we also have this one, enabling others to act. So we engage them in a way that they participate in a collaborative activities. And then we also have the challenging process wherein we take risks and experiment with the new ideas that supports the positive change that we have. And then we also have the challenging process offered to the new members of the team. So like what we are doing now, we support each other just to come up with this idea of sharing different points of view. And then we also have the so-called relational leaders. So relational leadership is a relational people together wherein we are attempting to accomplish change or make a difference to benefit the common good of the organization. So in here, it acknowledges the diverse talents of group members and trusts the process to bring good thinking to the socially responsible changes group members that agrees they want to work toward. So we have the common goal in here, wherein we let the rest of the team members to work together towards the common goal of the organization. And that is how we apply relational leadership style. Okay, so these are the elements of our relational leadership style. So we have the relationship with self, the relationship with the fellow leaders, and then the relationship with followers, the relationship with our vision, and at the same time, the relationship with our stakeholders, the relationship with the support network, and the relationship with the source. And like how we did with the other one, we're going to discuss this one also one by one. So relationship with self focuses on the self-awareness and self-discipline of the leader itself, and at the same time, the member of the team. The relationship with fellow leaders, that pertains to the respect and integrity of the fellow leaders within the organization, whether what type of leader, what category of leadership that they have along the way in the organization. We also have the relationship with our followers. We're in one of the main ingredients with our relationship with our followers is our honesty and trust in the organization. So we also have to be true to our followers, and we also have to trust their capabilities, and at the same time, our adaptability to the thing that they could share to the organization. And then next one is the relationship with the vision. So this is our ability to deal with the conflict and at the same time developing infusion. So relationship with the stakeholders, this is our accountability and our responsibility towards the stakeholders within the organization. And then next one is our relationship with the support network, and that is how we set priorities and reciprocity with our support network, like what we are doing now with the Cape Comorin Trust. And we also have the relationship with the source, and that would be our humility and the focus on the bigger picture that we have set. And then on, we have now the different leadership style that applies in the nursing field, or that is usually applied in the nursing field, because we actually have this common concept in mind that what is specific characteristic or trait that a good leader should have. We actually have that common concept in our mind about our perception of what a good leader should always be. We have our expectation towards our leader, and that is why we have to set and understand the different leadership styles. So we have actually the different leadership styles. So we're going to define first what are these leadership style. So leadership style are the leaders' methods and behaviors when directing, motivating, and managing others, are the followers or our subordinates in the organization. So this is also defined as a person's leadership style that determines how a leader is strategizes and implements the plan while accounting for the expectation of the stakeholders of the organization and the well-being of their team. So the next question would be, why do we have to choose the specific leadership style? Why do we have to fit in? Okay, so we have this one. We have two answers for that. First one is that we have the influence. Our influence would determine how we affect those whom under our direct influence. So whatever leadership style that we have or that we utilizes, it would influence the rest of the member of our organization. Like, for example, in the hospital setup, okay, so fellow nurses would influence the outcome of the care that we provide to our patients. So totally, it would be like that. Right? Okay, and then another reason is for the feedback. So knowing your leadership style prior to asking for the feedback can also be a helpful starting point for you as a leader. On the other hand, knowing your leadership style may also, take note, remove the need for getting the feedback. So that is another thing. So moving on, I have here the 6 Goldman leadership style in trends that we have. Okay, so we have actually 6 basic style leadership proposed by Daniel Goldman. Okay, we have the commanding leadership, the affiliative leadership, the democratic leadership, the coaching leadership, the visionary leadership, and the face-setting leadership. So one by one, we're also going to discuss this one. So we're going to start with the coercive leadership style according to Goldman. So the first one is the commanding style leadership. So this is the type of leadership we're in. Okay, this one adopts the authoritarian leadership style, wherein the leader is usually applies the command or the coercive types of leadership. The leader usually provide commands. The commanding leaders also makes the decision alone. So he makes the decision alone without consulting the rest of the member of the team. And at the same time, gives order to the members to achieve the goal. A commanding leader can also make decision quickly, wherein They don't need to go any discussions to come up with a decision most of the time. And then this type of leadership style in nursing, the commanding leadership style, this is the type of leader wherein the leader usually tell you, I tell you, you do it. Okay, this is the style of leadership style that applies, diba, to this commanding style of leadership. Commanding style of leadership also want to get things done, and they want them to be accomplished quickly. They can be a time, this can be applied in a time of need, for in this type of leadership style should be used sparingly. So this cannot be applied most of the time. This is usually applied wherein when we need a quick decision making. Okay, so when we need specific, diba, decisions to be made very quickly. So the next slide would give you the advantage and the disadvantage of this type of leadership style. So what are disadvantages? So the advantage would include the use when decision must be made very quickly, like what I have mentioned a while ago. And then one of the advantage also is that it would lead a low-skilled team, wherein, like what I have said, you're not going to consult the rest of the member of the team because usually it is the leader who makes the decision. And last advantage would be early stages of turnaround situation or when employees have severely out of line. So those are the advantage of this commanding leadership style. While as the disadvantage of this type of leadership style that applies in nursing is that it leads to dissonance with the people feeling overrun. Right? And then another thing, they are being disrespected because they are not treated like machines because you are giving commands for most of the time. Victimized and generally unhappy, unmotivated. And then the end state of this type of leadership style would be or would result to low productivity, low engagement peer, and high turnover. So it is the image of how a boss should be, according to lots of people, a mentally that borders or on dictatorship and autocratic leadership. That's why we have to use it seldomly or sparingly. Okay. The next one is our authoritative leadership style. So in here, we have the type of leader that usually tells us, come with me. This is actually very effective when changes for a new vision. When there is already a clear direction that is needed, okay, those are the times that this type of leadership style is very effective. While as this type of visionary leadership style is not effective when the leader is not working with the team or expert or peers who are more experienced than he is. So we cannot say, come with me when your fellow team members has more experience than you because you always have to consult and ask the expertise of the other team member. So the leader could be considered overbearing. So, and this is actually the type of leader we're in, we see with Steve Jobs. Diba? The leader that mobilizes people towards a vision and he motivates them to develop the goals to the best of their capabilities. This is the type of leadership style wherein it defines the standards that revolves around the vision of the organization. So for this type of leadership, the visionary leadership is also about reaching that vision has a portion of execution and getting things done within it. At the same time, the implementation requires a bit of emotional intelligence on the part of the leader that applies this type of leadership style. So this leadership style is more than others require powerful communication skills. And then, okay, for the advantage and the disadvantage of this type of leadership style, it brings people together actually. And at the same time, also encourages the type of an organization wherein the rest of the members of the team work actively towards the same end goal. While as the disadvantage of this type of leadership style is that we have too much of this can result in inattention to short-term activities and operational topics. And at the same time, it also prevents the team from fulfilling the vision anyway. So we also have the practical application of this type of leadership style in the nursing field. We have the so-called customer satisfaction score in our field. Specifically, we used to apply this in the hospital. As you can see on the slide, we have actually the scale. We have the happy face and sad face in the customer satisfaction score, or the CSAT. So in here, we could precisely apply this type of leadership style in determining the customer satisfaction in the hospital care that they receive from our hospital, say for instance. Okay, then the third basic style of leadership that we're going to discuss is your affiliative leadership style. So in here, we have what the leader wants in the organization. So usually in this type of leadership style, the leader creates harmony and builds emotional bonds. While as the leader usually say, people come first. We hear this statement from the previous president of our country, wherein sinasabi nila, kayo ang boss ko. Like what they say, you are the boss in this country. So that is the type of leadership style that the former president Benigno Aquino uses during her reign as president of our country. So what are the qualities or EQ qualities required with this type of leadership style? So we have empathy, building relationship, communication. The EQ is required when a leader uses type of affiliative leadership style. So when this type of leadership style works best. So usually, this type of leadership works best to heal rips in a team, and at the same time, to motivate people during stressful circumstances. So overall, the impact of this type of leadership usually leaves a positive impact to the rest of the member in the organization. So what are the top tips when this leadership? So we have to seek to understand how people feel so that we can be affiliated to them or affiliated to what they feel and how do they want the organization would move along. Second, state facts to encourage openness and transparency. That is to let them express what they want to attain and how they can contribute to the organization. The next thing, use intention, specifically what you want as a leader and how you do not want the organization to go if it is out of your vision and mission. Okay, so next we have the advantages and disadvantages of this your affiliative leadership style. So first thing, advantages, we have the positive feedback. So accordingly, there are lots of positive feedbacks that creates with this type of leadership, wherein it actually creates a positive environment within the organization. And at the same time, it usually deals with lots of conflict in an organization. It also addresses conflict immediately within the organization and thereby retain harmony within the organization because you have the transparency and honesty within the organization. And then another advantage is that leader cares about the people, wherein the leader is actually focuses on the well-being of the entire employees in the organization. And then another advantage is that low stress and high autonomy within the members of the team in the organization. It also creates emotional focus rather than face setting that leads to lower pressure within the team members of your organization. Then another advantage of this type of leadership is that it actually tightly knits the team. So there is actually a strong people focus which thereby creates loyalty and trust within the team, because you are affiliated with the people around the organization as a leader. So moving on to the disadvantage of this type of leadership, we have the following. First, risk of underperformance. The focus of harmony can at times lead to sacrificing results and performance, because you are very much understanding as a leader. So at times, you put the risk of the result or the performance of the organization. You used to understand. So at times, okay, we give consideration to our employees, to the rest of the members of the team, and so on. So that is precisely one disadvantage of this type of leadership. Another thing is that avoidance of criticism. We used to avoid negative feedback, and that can result in a unresolved problem because we used to understand. Then another disadvantage is loss of long-term goals. Use of people focus can risk losing sight of the organizational purpose, because along the way we used to understand every individual team. So we at times loses the long-term goal focus within the organization. And then another disadvantage is the avoidance of difficult decisions. We at times want to avoid negative conversation, negative impact as a leader. So we at times avoid discussion within or discussing other members of the organization. So at times, by means of avoiding, we tend to also decisions within the organization. Then last thing is emotional dependence can lead to unrealistic emotional dependence on the leader, because at times we let the leaders decide also for us. The next one is the democratic leadership style. So that is the fourth one. So this is actually a type of leadership wherein there is a participative style, wherein there is a cooperation within the organization, wherein the leader usually asks, what are your opinions on this matter? So there is a consultation, a participation within the organization from the rest of the members of the team. So the democratic leadership allows equal participation of everyone in decision-making process. We let their ideas be heard. So now we'll proceed to the pros and cons of this type of leadership. So for the pros, it promotes creativity, collaboration, and engagement. For the cons, we have time-consuming because we have to consult each and every one. And at the same time, it also requires expertise. And we cannot also decide on our own because it requires participation of everyone in the organization. Wherein at times, okay, it delays the decision-making that we want to have in the organization. The next one, we have the pace-setting leadership style. Okay, so what about this one? So this type of leadership style, the leader usually sets high standards of performance. And then the leader usually says, do as I do now. So the leader do it, then the followers would follow what the leader would do at present. Then what are the EQ qualities required for this type of leadership style? So we have the consensus, drive to achieve initiative, and when it works best. So this type of leadership style works best to quick results from high, motivated, and competent team. And then the overall impact within the climate is usually negative. So what are the top tips when we are using this type of leadership style? So first, we have to break down result into smaller targets and monitor performance of our team members. Later, we make adjustment as required along the way. And second, take time to explain why there is a need for you to change, or why there is an improvement, why there is an improvement or a change to be implemented within your organization. And then third, we have to ensure that your people are capable of achieving the task. And if they fail because of their skill set, so then we have to increase the support system to reduce the challenges that our team members are facing. Then next one, we have the advantage also and the disadvantage of this type of leadership style. So we have the advantage. First, it meets the goals fast. Second, it highlights the team competencies. Third, issues were swiftly resolved with this type of leadership style. Then the disadvantage, okay, it usually stresses the employees. It also it also promotes limited trust, because you are actually performing the management function of controlling and monitoring, which at times does not allow a lot of trust with the rest of the member of your team. And then last thing, low employee engagement. So there is no focus on relationship and morale, but rather completion of the task in a hurry. That usually leaves the people in the organization unengaged or only thinking about the next sprint or the next move of your organization. Then the last style is the coaching leadership style. So usually, the leader develops people for the future. So the leader usually teaches its team member in order to promote independence. So this is actually commonly that we used to practice in the field of nursing, especially for those novices in our field. So what the leader usually says in this type of leadership style. So we usually say, you try this, you do this. So those are the common things that we let our subordinate try the things that we do, especially in doing nursing procedures. So what are the EQ qualities required when we are applying this type of leadership style? So it usually develops others, and at the same time, it requires also the leader's empathy and at the same time self-awareness in order for you to teach the subordinates that you want to become, or the leader that you want to build in that specific person. So when this type of leadership style works best, so this one works best to help people improve performance or develop long-term strengths. Then overall impact of this type of leadership style is usually positive. So top tips when we want to apply or use this type of leadership style. First, we have to identify the gap in the skill. Okay, that break this down into manageable steps for the individual or the team to be given their specific experiences. And second, set deadlines and time scales to follow up, because you want your subordinates to try this given task. So you have to set deadlines. When are they going to achieve the given task? And third, give accurate and honest feedback and steps to improve when you are teaching or when you are coaching the specific people that you want to develop as a leader for the future. So yeah, so this is actually the common picture that we have when we are applying the coaching leadership style. So usually it creates a positive workplace, and at the same time, a success. Apply this type of leadership style, it oftentimes results with a successful improving results within the organization. And then at times, results also takes time to achieve. That's why we have to set time when we require our subordinates to do a certain task. And then at the same time, it requires an upfront. And then we also have to invest with the followers that we want to teach. So we have to send them for several trainings, several trials, in order for them to have that mastery of that specific nursing skills that we want to transfer to them through coaching leadership style. So the next slide is actually the summary of leadership style that we used to apply in our organization according to Danielle Goldman. And then we also have the common leadership style that we used to hear from our common speakers. You have the authoritarian, the participative, and the delegative or your laissez-faire. So those are the different leadership styles that we have. Then we'll move now to the role of leader in the healthcare. So what are the role of a leader in the healthcare? So in this slide, we will identify 5 roles of leaders in the field of healthcare. So for vision role, so it provides direction and goals, which inspires the team member to act in pursuit of success. That is the first one. Second, a relationship role. We're in building relationship and networks among the team. One is supportive. That is another. Then third, a control role. We're in as nurse leader, we establish accountability that ensures actions that gets completed, and the team is always on track within the organization. Then another role of leaders within the healthcare is that we have that encouragement role, wherein we do coaching and empowering members of the team to keep them learning in every day that they have, and at the same time overcome those challenges that we have in the field of healthcare. Then last one, we have the information role. We have this role, of ensuring clear communications that happen from top to down, from the bottom up, help make informed decisions. So those are the 5 roles of leaders in the field of healthcare. So those are the concepts that I have presented to you. And then next one, we have the difference of your missions and our vision statements. So this may be not new to everyone, but I have included this one so that we would have a clear picture on what is the difference between the vision and the mission statement of the organization. So the mission usually communicates the organization's reason for being, how it aims to serve its stakeholders. While as for the vision statements, this is a future-oriented declaration of the purpose and aspirations. So just like doing a road trip, so usually we understand that our finish line is our vision in the organization, and how we apply those different leadership style that we have is how we apply it along the way in accomplishing our organization's mission towards society that we have. And then these are the references that I have used for this presentation. And that ends my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Kamala S. Elam, for the very informative presentation. Now, let us open our floor if you have anything to say or questions to ask.
Yes, Professor Denish Kumar, you are acknowledged.
Madam, namaskar. Hello. Hello.
Yes, hello, sir.
Madam, my question is, how is to be a great leader?
Come again, sir.
How to be a great leader? Great leader. What are the qualities of a great leader?
What are the qualities of a leader?
Great leader.
Is
Great
that
leader.
hello, sir?
हाँ जी madam. Great leader. Great leader.
Qualities of a great leader?
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that
Yes,
what
yes.
you're okay? So, um, actually, lots of qualities of a great leader. It just depends on how we consider them to be great. Because in every organization, like what I have said, we have different leaders that applies different leadership style, and the way how we acknowledges them to be great, that is how we could say that they are great. So but anyhow, to answer your question, I could identify as a good leader if you apply um, that specific qualities of a good leader that understands, teaches your subordinate well, and without putting into consideration your organizational goal.
Is there any more question?
Thank you, madam. Thank you. Thank you.
Kailangan mo lang naman biyahan. Bakit talaga rin na? Why ako? um, professors and other participants, can we please wait for a few minutes for our presenter is currently preparing his presentation. Our next presenter for today is Dr. Abdul M. Salagsain. Dr. Salagsain finished Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English in MSc Sulu College of Education year 2006. He is a graduate of Master of Arts in Education major in Educational Administration in MSc Sulu Graduate School year 2014. He is also a graduate of Doctor of Philosophy major in Education Management in MSc Sulu Graduate School year 2023. Dr. Salagsain is an Associate Professor 5 in MSc System after College of National Education. Dr. Salagsain is a faculty member from 2009 to present, Secretary, College of Education from 2014 to 2016, Acting Dean of College of Education from 2016 to 2018, elected Dean, College of Education from 2018 to present, an Acting Campus Secretary from 2019 to present, a member University System Academic Promotion Panel Cluster D from 2019 to present, member Campus Academic Promotion Panel Cluster from 2019 to present, member System University Council from 2018 to present.
um, Dr. Our counterpart in Covering Trust and also our Dean, Dr. Magdanisa. The topic that I'm going to present this afternoon is about school policies and curriculum in higher education. I would like to first share the overview of this presentation. First, hopefully we will learn why school policies and curriculum are important. Second, what are some notable school policies and higher education solutions in the Philippines? Third, what are some of the best policy reforms or practices of world-class universities? Fourth, what policies are needed in creating a learning environment conducive to academic excellence? And fifth, the important strengths and challenges in school curriculum. So the first one speaks about the importance of school policies and curriculum in higher education institutions. Why is it important? School policies and curriculum are important for the first reason is that they ensure academic quality. Policies in the curriculum help to ensure that education provided by higher education institutions meets certain quality standards. These policies provide the guidelines and regulations that govern the behavior of students, faculty, and staff, while curriculum sets the learning objectives, competencies, and outcomes that students are expected to achieve. And second, it is also important because it maintains consistency. School policies and curriculum promote consistency in the delivery of education across the different courses, departments, and programs. They help ensure that students receive a similar level of education regardless of the institution they attend or the particular courses they take. The third reason is that school policies and the curriculum also promote student success. They are designed to promote student success by providing a clear path for students to follow and give them the tools they need to succeed academically. Policies and curriculum can also help to identify and address barriers to success such as inadequate resources or insufficient support services. The fourth one, they also respond to societal needs. Policies and curriculum are also designed to respond to the changing needs of the society. free, the tuition is free for the higher education. So such policy addresses this one. It eliminates financial barrier to education. Free education enables students from low-income families to receive the same level of education as their peers from more affluent families. This can help to reduce social inequality and promote a more equal and just society. What are the notable policies in higher education in the Philippines? Of course, the first is the establishment of the Commission on Higher Education. It is a government agency that is responsible for regulating higher education in the Philippines. Through the establishment of CHED, as we call it, all higher education institutions are required to be accredited by the said agency, which ensures that higher education institutions meet the standard of quality and even global rankings. I am pleased to inform our counterpart in India that one of our our sister campuses in the name of MSU Iligan has already been one of the top global rankings in terms of engineering. Also, the provision of financial aid to students from low-income families, or the financial aid helps to make higher education more accessible to all citizens. And also, through the establishment of CHED, there is also the promotion or policies that were handed down by CHED for the promotion of diversity and inclusion in higher education. As we all know, diversity and inclusion are important for creating a learning environment that is conducive to academic excellence and one that gives opportunities for ethnic minorities and indigenous people to access higher education. Second of these notable policies in the Philippines is the anti-hazing policy. This policy prohibits all forms of hazing in fraternities, sororities, and other student organizations. As we all know, joining in fraternities, sororities, and other student organizations is already inevitable when you talk about college life or higher education life. Through this policy, it mandates that higher education institutions to set up anti-hazing committees, conduct orientation programs, and impose sanctions on violators. Third, there is also what we call the gender fair education policy. This policy promotes gender equality and non-discrimination in all aspects of higher education. It calls for the integration of gender perspectives in the curriculum, the establishment of gender-sensitive policies and procedures, and the creation of gender-responsive facilities and services. The policy also prohibits sexual harassment and other forms of gender-based violence. Why this policy was contemplated or enacted in higher education institutions in the Philippines? The reason why is because even in the Philippines, there's always cases of sexual harassment and also gender bias, even in higher education institutions. Fourth, there's also what we call the Student Code of Conduct. This policy sets out the rights and responsibilities of students in higher education institutions. It defines prohibited acts such as cheating, plagiarism, vandalism, and illegal drug use, and also it provides for corresponding sanctions. The code also upholds academic freedom, freedom of expression, and due process. In the Middle State University system, this is what we call as the University Code or the MSU Code. Fifth, there's also the outcomes-based policy, which I believe started in the early 2000s. This policy emphasizes the achievement of specific learning outcomes by students, rather than the mere completion of courses or requirements. It requires higher education institutions to design and implement curriculum that aligns with national standards and industry needs, and to assess student performance based on measurable outcomes. The policy aims to produce graduates who are competent, innovative, and of course, globally competitive. The sixth is the community engagement policy. This policy encourages higher education institutions to engage with the social development that address community needs and the establishment of partnerships with local government units and non-governmental organizations. the policy aims to develop socially responsible and responsive graduates. The third question that we have asked in the overview is that what are the needed policy reforms? Of course, we can always learn from the world-class universities or from the practices of world-class universities. So who are these world-class universities, by the way? World-class universities, by definition, are those that are consistently ranked among the top institutions in the world. They are known for their excellence in teaching, research, and innovation. One of the best practices is what they call the policies for teaching excellence. How do we do this, or what policies should we integrate in order to have a teaching excellence in our universities? First, of course, hiring the best faculty members. World-class universities are committed to hiring the best faculty members possible. Specifically, what they do is they offer competitive salaries, benefits, and create a supportive environment for research and teaching. The second is they provide professional development opportunities. They offer their faculty members a variety of professional development opportunities. Those opportunities or these opportunities have faculty to stay up to date on the latest research and to improve their teaching skills. Third is by assessing teaching. World-class universities assess their faculty teaching on a regular basis. These assessments help to ensure that faculty members are meeting the high standards of the university. Second is what we call the policy for research excellence. Of course, again, world-class universities are committed to research excellence. They do this by providing their faculty with the resources they need to conduct research and by creating a supportive environment for research. Specifically, they provide funding for research. World-class universities provide their faculty with funding for research. These funds can be used to support research projects, to travel to conferences, and of course to purchase research materials. Adding to this, and also to subscribe to online research journals, reputable research world. Second, we can create also a supportive environment for research by including things like access to libraries, laboratories, and other sources. We also promote, or they also promote collaboration. World-class universities promote collaboration between faculty members. This collaboration typically will lead to new ideas and new research projects. The third is they have this what we call, of course, these kind of universities are also committed to innovation. They do this by encouraging their faculty and students to think creatively and by providing them with the resources they need to turn their ideas into reality. How do we do this? Encouraging creativity by simply encouraging the faculty members and students to think creatively. This can be done through things like workshops, seminars, and competitions, healthy competitions, if I may add. Of course, by providing resources for innovation, they provide faculty and things like funding. Of course, here with this afternoon is how do we create a learning environment that is conducive to academic excellence? Of course, the that is needed to be present in our universities is first, there should be the value of academic freedom. Simply, it is the right of faculty members to teach, research, and publish without fear of reprisal. It is essential for the free exchange of ideas and, of course, for the pursuit of knowledge. It also protects faculty members from interference from administrators, students, and outside organizations. Academic freedom it also ensures that faculty members are free to express their views, even those views are actually controversial. And also, it allows faculty members to explore new ideas and to challenge the status quo. This is essential, of course, for the advancement of knowledge and in the preparation of students for a rapidly changing world. Second of these values is diversity and inclusion. This is a policy of world-class university. Diversity simply refers to the variety of backgrounds, experiences, perspectives that students and faculty bring to the university, while inclusion refers to the creation of an environment
where everyone feels welcome and respected, regardless of their background. That means regardless of their religion, regardless of their race, regardless of their affiliations, or even regardless of the people who they love. Second, such policies, or second point, such policies are that promote diversity in admissions, hiring, and student life. Good universities or world-class universities have diversity even in hiring faculty members, not only students. Such concept or such policy help create a learning environment where students and faculty can learn from each other and where everyone can reach their full potential. Third is, world-class university also has these values of student success. What is student success? Of course, these are the kind of policies that provide students with the resources they need. In the case of our university, the fourth mandate of faculty members is to provide student or good student services. So this type of values or policy, when you talk about student success, these are, it's providing students with the resources they need in order for them to succeed. And these resources also include academic advising, of course, tutoring, financial aid, and career
Excuse me,
counseling.
sir.
They also have a strong focus.
Excuse me,
Yes,
sir.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
Sorry for the disturbance, sir. Are
Hello,
you using your
hello.
slides?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Are you using your slides, sir?
Hello, hello.
Your slides are not moving, sir. Are you using that?
Pardon me, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
Okay, Lisa. Shall we continue, ma'am? Okay, thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Hello. May I continue, ma'am? Yes,
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 sir.
yes.
Yes, sir.
Of course, there is a student success. Well, yes. The student success is essential for the continued excellence in universities. It ensures that university is producing graduates who are prepared to make a difference in the world. Then let's go to the curriculum. What are the trends or the importance of some trends and challenges in the school curriculum? I think this will be the last the last question that we have asked a while ago. So by curriculum, we simply define curriculum as a planned sequence of learning experiences that are designed to help students acquire knowledge, skills, and attitudes. These are the three basic things that we must actually, develop, in our students. Curriculum can also be defined as a blueprint for what students should learn and how they should learn it. Curriculums are also developed by a variety of stakeholders, including teachers, administrators, parents, and community members. Of course, when you talk about stakeholders, we are referring to internal and external stakeholders. People of our communities, their needs in the communities, are somehow reflected in the curriculum. Curriculum is also influenced by a variety of factors, including the state standards. So every state has a standard on what kind of curriculum they are going to implement or they're going to impose in their universities and their schools. It also, factors such as school's mission is also very important. So each school, each university has their own mandate. In the case of our university, we have this mission of being excellence in agriculture and fisheries. And of course, what should be considered in preparing curriculum is, of course, the students' needs. What are the needs of the students? Of course, why is it essential to have a well-designed curriculum? Well, typically, experience is we have come up with or adapted with the kind of curriculum that, allows students to learn at their own pace by coming up with alternative learning modalities. Again, the third is, what are the challenges in the curriculum development? One challenge that we have perceived is the increasing diversity of students' population. The schools now need to develop curriculums that are relevant to students from all backgrounds. Another challenge is the challenging nature of work. The jobs that students will have in the future may not even exist today. The schools need to prepare students for jobs that have not yet been created or have not yet been created tomorrow. The growing importance of technology is also a challenge. Schools need to find ways to integrate technology into the curriculum in a very meaningful way. Is it responsive? We may also ask, is our curriculum responsive to the disruptions of the global pandemic? Of student population, aging nature of work, and the growing importance of technology. It states different states have developed standards for what students should know and be able to do at each grade level. In the Philippines, our basic education are all, they have different grade levels. Even in high school, it is and to assess student learning. So, another trend is the focus on the 21st century skills. These skills include critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, and of course, one of the most important is creativity. They are essential not only for the success of their students in college, but more importantly, in their career and of course in life. Recently, there's been a significant move of our institutions to integrate business continuity and ICT continuity plan in the curriculum that includes alternative learning modalities following the disruption like the pandemic and the visible risk of artificial intelligence. As a synthesis, we could say that school policies and school curriculum are both significant in ensuring academic quality, maintaining consistency, promoting student success, responding to societal needs, and improving the quality and accessibility of higher education. We have also said that the Philippine government has made a number of reforms in its higher education system. One of the most notable contribution or one of the most notable reforms that the Philippine government has done is designing or making higher education more accessible, more affordable, and relevant to the needs of the country through its establishment of the Commission of Higher Education. Of course, we also have said that world-class universities has a number of policies in place that help them achieve high standards that are designed to ensure that the university has the best faculty, the best research, and the best innovation. Such policies also helps to ensure differentiated excellence and designed to promote academic freedom, foster this diversity and inclusion, and support student success. Of course, school policies of these world-class universities are not always static. They are dynamic in nature. They are constantly evolving in response to the changing needs of the students, to the changing needs of the faculty, and of course, the needs of their societies. But the core values of these universities remain the same: academic excellence, diversity, and inclusion. The school curriculum is a complex, of course. We have also said that school curriculum can be defined or can be said to be complex and ever-changing. Although there are a number of challenges to curriculum development, but there are also a number of trends that are shaping the future of curriculum. In these trends, schools and universities can develop curriculums that will prepare students for the disruptions and threats of a volatile, uncertain, complex, and often ambiguous world. So I guess that ends my presentation. I would be really happy to take some of your questions or clarifications of the presentation. Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Okay.
Ini camera itu. Ini.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Abdelajim Salasain, for the informative insights. So the floor now for question and answer is now open. Do you have anything to share to us? Yes, Miss. Ganun pag kita yun, ma'am?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Yes,
It's been a
Dr.
very informative.
Dr.
Yeah,
Ujjaini,
I am
you are
Ujjaini Sinha Roy. I am talking from. Yes, my not exactly a
Yes.
question. My insight and query to professor is that is finance or talking about sex education is a part of the curriculum of schools in Philippines, and how much do you think that knowledge about finance and all these social issues are important?
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am, for that wonderful question. There has been a talk in the past about sex education being part of the curriculum in the Philippines, but I think it has not yet been approved. It does not yet pass our Congress. And of course, even though they will perhaps include that, they have to be also conscious about the social issues because the Philippines is composed of different mix of races and cultures, and of course, talking about religion, it has also had different religions. So they have to also, I think the Philippine government, the best thing that they should do, our leaders and our policymakers, should always reflect on what kind of curriculum. It shouldn't be one type of curriculum that would be implemented to all. It could be various type of curriculum. Maybe for some, they can perhaps modify or rehash that content about sex education. It will be approved by our Congress. They could perhaps research that so that it will not it will consider those issues or those topics. I answered your question or your inquiry or clarification, Ma'am Roy, Dr. Roy, Jen. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Do
you,
you have
sir.
any other follow-up, ma'am? Ano ba?
No, sir. Thank you so much.
Do you have any more questions or sharing?
Hello, can you still hear me? If I may add, of course, I think I included in the presentation, we said that, our curriculum and policies are not really static. It is dynamic. So we cannot really have, I'm not saying that since they are talk about sex education, it will not be changed eventually in the future. Although what I understand is still the present curriculum does not include, specifically in the Philippines, it does not include topics or even programs have a position letter informing the Congress that they should also contemplate about the different, the various cultures and the various backgrounds of people in the Philippines, so that they can come up with a curriculum and also with this policy, school policies that will be acceptable for all its citizens in the Philippines. So that will be all.
Okay, lovely professors listening
since 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Anymore, you can add or you can clarify on our second lecturer. Okay, I think our moderator, Professor Salve, will be giving her synthesis on the topics discussed this afternoon.
Okay. So if you have no questions, no questions, allow me to give it a message for such examples earlier.
Bigyan mo lang. Amen. Sige. Masayang in English. Okay, and now to end today's event, let us all be guided by all the things we have learned and heard throughout this event, the lecture, and be able to see and influence our future. Again, thank you so much. Thank you everyone in attendance, and have a good day.
Okay, in behalf of our Chancellor, Dr. Nagdor J. Abdurrahman of Mindanao State University, Sulu, and of course, in collaboration with the Cape Comorin Trust India, headed by Dr. Regine Sylvest, and of course, coordinated by our international coordinator, Dr. Shalja Vesdeva. Thank you very much, and God bless everyone. That concludes our afternoon's lecture.